WWE NXT Vengeance Day 2025, and not a bad show. I'm gonna say that off the bat here, not a bad show whatsoever. Some good wrestling involved, not a single bad match necessarily at all. But yeah, I'm not gonna say that when the card was announced or during the build-up of this pay-per-view, I was necessarily excited to see the matches here. Maybe one or two of them, but overall, this card didn't scream at me, watch me. But of course, I did for the channel. So, with that being said, let's get into it. Let's just get straight into it with the very first match. Fallon Henley, the current before the match NXT Women's North American Champion, as she took on Stephanie Vaquer. I think this result was all but confirmed before the match even happened. We all knew Stephanie Vaquer was about to become the new NXT North American Women's Champion. And that's exactly what she did, and she deserved that moment. But let's go through a bit of play by play. Firstly, the crowd was very vocal for Stephanie Vaquer the whole night. Very, very vocal for her. So good for her. I'm glad. She honestly has done so well since coming to NXT and somehow has a grip on the crowd, and the crowd just love her. And that is what can you complain about? Then anyway, Stephanie Vaquer locks in an STF early on, but Fallon Henley eventually gets to the ropes. Stephanie Vaquer goes for the scissors head stomp thing that she does, where Booker T just loses his mind. But Fallon Henley rolls away, and Booker T is like genuinely upset by this. That killed me. That was hilarious on commentary. I don't know if he's genuinely upset because he wants to see, yeah, or if he's just playing us. But that was funny. Stephanie then goes for an arm drag, but Fallon Henley turns it into a nice arm bar. I thought that was really good by Fallon Henley. She showed a different side of her, and that was a more technical wrestling side of her, which I can appreciate because that's what the NXT is about. Trying different styles, working different matches, getting used to working different styles in different matches, and she showed out. Stephanie Vaquer goes for a springboard, but Fallon Henley bumps her off, and then while the ref is distracted, JC Jane attacks Stephanie with a big boot and puts Fallon Henley in control for the moment. Stephanie tries to make several comebacks, but Fallon Henley just turns the tides the whole time. That is until Stephanie finally lands a super kick, followed by a 619, followed by a springboard crossbody, and a couple other suplexes within a really nice comeback, really fun comeback, all executed perfectly. Booker T then loses his mind when Stephanie Vaquer finally lands the stomping head scissors facing. I don't know. You know what move? I don't know what do you call that move? What do you call that move? Booker T loses his mind though, and the crowd also lose their mind. Then we had a pump handle suplex exploder from Fallon Henley, followed by JC getting involved again, but Stephanie Vaquer kicks out of her involvement. Vaquer then takes out Final Attraction, the whole of Final Attraction, including Fallon Henley, and then lands a huge crossbody, springboard crossbody to the outside on all of them. Stephanie Vaquer is so good, man. She's so damn good. Vaquer then lands her backstabber finisher, followed by a spiral tap, a clean spinal tap for the win. And yeah, that is a new NXT North American champion. I hope she uses the spiral tap a bit more because I'm not a fan of that backstabber finisher. That is the one thing I have with Stephanie Vaquer. That backstabber finisher looks too weak. But anyway, really, really, really good stuff. New champion, well deserved. This was probably Fallon Henley's best match in NXT, if I'm being honest. Probably her best match. They worked a decent technical wrestling match with, of course, a bit of high flying from Stephanie Vaquer, and of course some striking involved and all that. But they worked a decent technical wrestling match. I give the match 3 stars. Nothing to complain about at all. Technical wrestling from Fallon Henley, and she showed out. She showed out to a certain extent. 3 stars. Let's move on to the very next match. We had Fraxiom, which is obviously Axiom, and Nathan Frazier, as they took on Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. Now, I haven't been watching too much in it. I catch up here and there. NXT during the weeks. Like, I watch most weeks, but sometimes you miss out on a few stuff. And this Yoshiki Inamura and Josh Briggs stuff is something I haven't really caught on too much. I've seen a few things, but not caught on too much. They are such a good duo together, actually. Such a good duo together. I thought this match was a lot of fun from the get-go. Of course, anything with Fraxiom is going to be good. Like, they do not disappoint. And this was a really good match, I have to say. So from the start, Fraxiom started at 100 miles per hour, doing the Motor City Machine Gun type wrestling, the back and forth, constant tag wrestling. So that was pretty good start. Fraxiom then dominate Yoshiki, but he manages to get a chop onto Axiom and get away to the tag to Briggs. Briggs then gets in and powerhouses his way through Fraxiom, looking really good. I haven't seen him look this good since his triple threat match was it Stand triple threat match last year with Dijak and Obafemi. That was when I saw him at his best, and he hasn't looked that good since now. So good for him, really good for him. Inamura goes for like a sumo wrestling style attack on Axiom. That was really fun. The crowd is really behind Inamura and Briggs, as well as Fraxiom, but they're really behind them. It was good fun. Inamura then opens himself up for a chop, but Axiom lands a flying super kick out of nowhere, which I love. So in Japanese wrestling, if you guys watch some of my reactions to the New Japan stuff, I'm not a huge fan of the constant chop exchanges where they stand there and let each other chop them. Now, that is what Inamura tried to do here, and Axiom just landed a flying kick out of nowhere. He was not having this chop battle. Nathan Frazier then gets the tag and goes on a high flying spree, but he lands on Briggs' face at one point. I thought Briggs' nose was broken because he held it like this over his face for quite a while. I thought it was broken. Then a big backdrop onto a powerbomb from Briggs and Inamura. So backdrop into a powerbomb, really, really cool. Onto Frazier, they go for the pin, but Axiom breaks it up. This is where it starts getting damn interesting now. Spanish fly from the top rope between Axiom and Inamura, which is crazy. Frazier looks for the Phoenix Splash, but Briggs hits a super chokeslam from the top rope. Can you imagine that? That is just crazy. I love that. This is awesome chance from the crowd, of course. We then get a poison Rana by Axiom to Briggs, but Inamura pounces onto Axiom afterwards. Inamura then stacks up Fraxiom on top of each other, climbs the top rope, looks for the splash, but misses. And then this is where Fraxiom land their high-low combo and get the win over Briggs and Inamura. A really, really fun match with Fraxiom showing out as usual, but Briggs and Inamura are so much fun to watch, and I hope they stay together. I really hope they stay together. I gave that match 3.75 stars. I thought it was really good. Not match of the night. There is two other matches that probably overtake this, but really, really good stuff nonetheless. Maybe if they had like a little bit more time, it would have been a better match. But really, really good stuff. 3.75 stars. And then post-match, there was a mystery attacked, like all four men that have been teasing themselves on NXT TV. They attacked all four men in the ring, and the crowd chanted, "Who are you?" But it was a really cool, it's almost like a Shield 2.0 type thing, judging from the very beginning. Really, really good stuff. 3.75 stars for this match. Let's move on. We then had Trick Williams versus Eddie Thorpe in a strap match. This is one match I was not looking forward to. I don't get Eddie Thorpe, man. I don't get why they're pushing Eddie Thorpe. I don't get Eddie Thorpe's character. I don't get what's so interesting about him. I don't see that one thing that sets him apart from anyone else. I see nothing in Eddie Thorpe. That sounds very harsh, but I don't see the potential in him, and I don't see why, spoiler, he needed to beat Trick Williams. I don't see why. Anyway, let's go through some of the action. Eddie Thorpe attacks Trick before the strap is attached, but of course Trick then gets the upper hand and eventually ties it on himself and onto Eddie Thorpe, and the match begins. Trick uses a strap to like pull Eddie into like clothesline, so like pull him in clothesline. Trick goes to the top rope, but Thorpe pulls him off with the strap. I thought that was a nice spot. Trick misses with a big boot at one point and gets caught up on the ropes, and then Thorpe just starts using the strap onto Trick. They did tease it for a little bit, that that first person to hit the other person with the strap, and then they finally got it, but it was Eddie Thorpe onto Trick. Thorpe then ties Trick to the ring post and on the outside and just starts beating him with the strap again. And this is where Thorpe dominates Trick for quite some time with pretty lackluster action. I'm not gonna lie, the pretty lackluster action. Trick then fights back and locks in an STF with the strap, but Thorpe gets to the ropes, but it doesn't matter in this match, that's the thing. And eventually, though, Eddie Thorpe finds his way out of it. Trick finally gets his chance to beat Thorpe with the strap, and he just lets loose on Eddie Thorpe, and the crowd love it. Trick lands a trick shot, but Thorpe rolls up to the outside. And then Trick pulls Eddie Thorpe into the ring, and after a bit of back and forth, Eddie Thorpe lifts up the rope, low blowing Trick Williams with the strap, and then lands a running knee of his own and gets the surprise victory over the former NXT champion Trick Williams. This was not it. This match was alright, but Thorpe should not have won. That's just my opinion. If they wanted to get someone over, Trick, like use Trick to get someone else over, anyone else, but not Eddie Thorpe, I think. Eddie Thorpe was not the guy for me. Not the guy. The match was okay. It was decent. Fairly tame for a standard strap match. That's the thing. It was fairly tame. I'm still going to give it a decent star rating because the work they put in was okay. But I felt for a strap match there was more gears to go that they just did not find. I gave this match 3 stars as well. Yeah, not fantastic by any means. Still decent, but not fantastic. We then had Ethan Page versus Javon Evans, and this was a match I was looking for because they had a pretty decent story going into it. And the story was, of course, Javon Evans got his jaw broken by Ethan Page, and in fact, it's still damaged. So Ethan Page, when the match bell rings, Ethan Page leaves the ring early on, but Evans is just not having this, and he just dives straight into him and over the announce table. Big dive. Evans has lost his mind, and he just goes ham on Ethan Page, and I'm loving this. A different side to Javon Evans, a more angry side to Javon Evans. This is what we've needed. We needed to see some change in his character, and that is what he gave us here. Javon Evans then lands a big blue thunderbomb, but Ethan Page kicks out. And then Javon Evans dominates most of the match, goes for a springboard cutter, but Ethan Page stops it. Just shortly afterwards, though, Javon Evans lands a cutter on the apron, and then tries to roll him in, but doesn't get the pin. Javon Evans looks to get revenge on the jaw of Ethan Page by putting his face on the steel steps and then looking to stomp it, but Ethan Page gets out the way and smashes Evans' ankle in the steel steps, between the steel steps, kind of like he did to, what's his name, that other guy on NXT, I forget his name now. So now Ethan Page is targeting that ankle over and over and over that he damaged. So not only does he have a broken jaw, but he has a broken ankle now too. Evans goes for his top rope cutter, but Ethan Page lands his, or catches him basically, and lands his Ego's Razor's Edge, down onto the mat, pinning Javon Evans, but Javon Evans kicks out. Evans makes a comeback with some big strikes and a huge spinning heel kick, and then Javon Evans stomps the jaw of Page and follows it up with a huge dive. Now, I thought that stomping the jaw would mean more, but it kind of like just happened. It didn't mean much in the grand scheme of things. That was a little bit unfortunate. Javon Evans then goes for his cutter, but gets caught with a huge punch, and his mouthpiece that his protection flew out, and then Ethan Page lands his finisher for 3.5 stars and the victory. Yeah, like I said, 3.5 stars for this match. Good stuff, good action. Maybe there were more gears to go, but I thought they reached their limit. They reached their peak of what these two could do in the ring. Really, really good match. Ethan Page getting the win was the right call. Javon Evans is still a young guy. He still has room to grow. Ethan Page is the guy right now, and Ethan Page is a guy they see potential in. And you know what? He's probably going to go to the main roster sooner than later. So give him the win. We then had the co-main event, which was Obafemi, the current NXT champion, as he took on A-Town Down of Austin Theory and Grayson Waller in a triple threat match. This was really, really good, and I'm surprised how good this was. Well, should I be surprised? Waller and Theory are good wrestlers. I don't think I should be as surprised as I am. A-Town Down come out separately, but Waller actually interrupts Austin Theory's entrance. That was interesting. Did A-Town Down... So now basically, A-Town Down don't look happy with each other. Standing opposite sides of the ring, not coming in together. But they pulled a fast one on us in the beginning of the match because they were just trying to fool Obafemi, and they went straight into working Obafemi together. They were tag teaming together against Obafemi. But that didn't stop him as Obafemi landed a double chokeslam early on. But then that didn't last long, as once again, 8 down, we're on the attack. Obafemi catches Theory mid-roll, his dropkick roll, and puts him in a military press to just slam him down. That was awesome by Obafemi. This man is so good. So good. They get Obafemi out of the ring, and then the tension starts to build up between Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. But of course, Obafemi gets up in time after the tension was built and pulls Grayson Waller out of the ring and lands huge chops. When I say huge chops, I mean huge chops to both of them. Insane stuff. Oba then tosses the steel steps at Austin Theory and tries to hit Waller with a chop, or with the steel steps, but Waller chops the knee of Obafemi and lands a DDT on the steel steps. That was a nice little sequence. But I do think Theory hurt his wrist or his arm in that exchange where Oba threw the steel steps at him. Grayson gets sidewalk slammed on a standing steel chair. That looked pretty nasty. I'm surprised Grayson even took that spot. But and then Obafemi goes for the pin, but Theory breaks it up at 3. At this point, Theory and Grayson are still trying to tag team to a certain extent. We then get a big Tower of Doom by all 3 men. That looked pretty cool. Grayson then puts Obafemi through a table from the top rope to the outside, and this is where things break down between Eitan down, because now Grayson's obviously down for a bit because he put Obafemi through the table from the top rope. Austin Theory just throws Obafemi in, tries to pin him, and Grayson Waller sees this and he gets upset now. Now there's tension between them two. Oba then tosses Grayson into the announce table, completely breaking it. Theory lands A-Town down onto Obafemi. This man is so strong. But Grayson pulls the ref out the ring, stopping Austin Theory from winning the match. Waller accidentally hits Theory with a rolling stunner, and then Obafemi lands the power bomb onto Grayson Waller for the win. This was fantastic, and told such good stories between A-Town Down Under, and made Obafemi look like a beast at the same time. This match was perfectly booked. Perfectly booked. I'm not saying it's a perfect match. Perfectly booked in that it had stories between A-Town Down Under, and it made Obafemi look like a monster. I really, really enjoyed this match, and I think this match was beneficial to all 3 men. Really, really good stuff. The finish was nice. I'm interested to see what happens between A-Town Down Under. Do they stay on NXT and continue their feud there, or do they take it to Raw and SmackDown? Let's see as time goes on. I gave this match 4 stars, guys. It was really, really, really good. I gave it 4 stars. Not sure if you guys are going to agree with me, but that's what I ended up giving it. Post-match, though, the lights go out, and those 4 men, the new faction, are back and attack Obafemi. But this time, with a whole bunch of lights and everything, it looked really, really cool, really, really sick. Better than their first attack. And they really left a statement here. They really left a statement. I don't know any of the 4 men in the faction. They are PC guys. They are youngsters. They haven't made a name for themselves. So we don't need to know their names yet. I think that's the whole point. They are going to tell us who they are probably in the coming weeks on NXT. 4 stars for this match. Let's move on to the main event. We had Julia, the current NXT Women's Champion, defending her title against Roxanne Perez, Bayley, and Cora Jade. So the odds are really stacked up against Julia here. But we'll get into it. I'm not going to spoil it yet. You guys have obviously seen the show, but just for the point of this, let's not expose the winner yet. Julia then Julia at the very start of the match lets Roxanne, Bayley, and Cora just fight it out because they've been going at it for the past couple of weeks, with Julia just being the side piece and the champion for that matter. But then while they're going at it, Julia lands a nice missile drop kick to all 3 of them. Really cool stuff. Some quick counter wrestling between all 4 women and quick pin attempts that go nowhere, but really good technical wrestling for a little bit. And then there's a stare down between Cora and Roxanne, and you think, okay, they're going to start wrestling. And there's no hesitation between them. They do wrestle. This is not like A-Town Down Under. They do wrestle. Julia then takes out Cora and Perez by running between the corners with some big clothesline and some big strikes. We then get some one-on-one action between Julia and Bayley, and that was pretty good stuff. That's a future match that could be really good. Cora and Roxanne then realize they need to work together to attack Bailey and Julia. This is not working. They need to start working together. So then they work together for a little bit, doing some action, some tag team wrestling, but that doesn't last long as Cora turns on Roxanne as expected. Cora then goes to the top rope and cannonballs into Julia and Bailey, and then goes back into the ring and does some work with Roxanne. Bailey targets and does work on absolutely everybody in the ring before Julia comes in to show why she is the champion and tries to land an octopus hold, kind of falls over, and then they do it again. That was the one thing in this match that was not good. To be honest, that's the one thing on the show which really looked like a botch. But anyway, Julia then lands her Northern Lights bomb on Roxanne, but it gets broken up by Bailey and Cora. Then there's a huge Tower of Doom with Jade being at the bottom, Roxanne and Julia. So Julia doing the underhook suplex, and then Bailey doing like a side suplex. Really, really good stuff. Really good Tower of Doom. It was different to just the standard power bomb and then vertical suplex. Really, really nice stuff. Roxanne then lands pop rocks on the outside to Bailey, and then lands another one in the ring to Bailey. But Jade comes in and rolls Roxanne up, but she kicks out. This is where Julia then lands her running knee and Northern Lights bomb to Roxanne Perez and to Cora Jade, but ends up landing the Northern Light bomb onto Roxanne and gets the pinfall victory. Very good fatal 4-way match, a bit sloppy at times, but I thought it was very creative, very unpredictable, and that made up for it. That really made up for it. And it did look like a struggle in terms of a fight, not a struggle in terms of they struggling to wrestle. A struggle in terms of it looked like a fight. With that being said, I gave the match 4 stars as well, just as good as the triple threat, but in different ways. Post-match though, this is when it gets interesting. Stephanie Vaquer comes out and stands tall with Julia. They hold their titles up, two new champions, it's a new era, and then out comes Jordynne Grace to confront them both. Ooh, NXT is cooking right now. The NXT women's division is really cooking, and they're about to lose their kingpin in Roxanne. And guess what? They just replaced her like that. That shows how good WWE's recruitment and I suppose not Triple H, Shawn Michaels' booking is. He is building up some new talent. Really, really good stuff. Well done to all of them. The show in general, decent. It was a fun 2.5 hours short show, which I appreciated, especially at 3 in the morning. Fun couple hours of wrestling. And yeah, I've got no complaints. The 2 multi-man matches at the end were fantastic. The other matches were really good. Maybe a couple low points, but they didn't last very long. So, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with NXT Vengeance Day 2025. You guys let me know what was your thoughts on NXT Vengeance Day 2025.